Hello, Utah Studies students, and welcome to the module all about what happens once the territory of Utah finally, after years and years of waiting, was granted statehood. Remember, this is going to be a really big deal for those people living in Utah because now they get to have the same rights and privileges as other citizens of the United States. The biggest thing that they could now do is vote for the president. As we go through these slides today, imagine that you're sitting in our classroom and we're taking our Cornell notes. The things that we go over in this video today are things that will come back up on assignments and eventually your quiz at the end of this module. Take notes on anything that you think is important, any vocabulary words or information that you think might help you remember. All right, let's get started. So our title is Utah's government, and our essential question is, how was Utah's government set up? Number one, exciting news. Imagine a big party because that's exactly what they did. Number one, Utah becomes a state. This is one of the biggest things that's happened in Utah. It happened right here in this year, 1896. And this could only happen after polygamy was eliminated. Remember, polygamy is being married to more than one person at the same time, and the rest of the country didn't really like that. Remember that conflicts like the Utah War prevented Utah from becoming a state. Another issue was the issue of slavery. Until after the Civil War, Utah was kind of put on this back burner because they didn't want to add or get rid of slave states. They weren't really sure what people wanted. Another big issue before Utah could become a state was the population size. So after polygamy, after slavery, after population, finally, Utah gained statehood. And the next step is they had to set up a list of rules. So they set up their very own constitution. That word constitution should sound familiar. Our country, the United States of America, has a constitution, and Utah set their constitution up very similarly. The constitution establishes the duties and responsibilities of the state government, basically assigns everyone a task, and they don't want one group to have way too much power because they already experienced that couple hundred years ago with Britain. Britain and the king and the monarchy was too powerful. And a lot of those early colonizers did not want that to happen again. So when the founding fathers set up the Constitution, they made sure to divide the powers evenly. If you are excited about talking more about government, hang on, because in 8th grade, you get to spend a lot more time there. But for today, we're going to focus on what Utah's Constitution did. All right, number 2, beliefs about government. Just like I said, we didn't want too much power in one place, so we practice something called federalism in this country. Federalism is splitting responsibilities up among the different levels of government. We're going to talk about at least 3. Federal, the whole country. That's why we have the whole country here in this picture. State, just our beautiful state of Utah. And then local, just the county or city. So a local issue for West Valley would fall to the local government. Okay, so who would have the power? We talk about branches of power. We're not really talking about tree branches, but that might help you remember that there's at least 3: legislative, executive, and judicial. And then we have this image down here of a check and a balance because we don't want one group to have more power than the others. So they separate the power. Each branch has their own job. And that is one way that we make sure that not one group or person can control too much of the government. We call this checks and balances. Each branch can make sure another branch is using their power correctly. Okay, so let's talk about those branches of government. This first one here is judicial. We have a judge here in this picture, and that's exactly what they do. They decide if laws are broken and constitutional, and they can also declare a law unconstitutional. Next, we have the legislative branch. They are the lawmakers. They write the laws and they can amend the Constitution. Here's a vocabulary word for you. To amend means to make changes or additions. Next, we have the executive branch. So that would be the governor in the state of Utah. His job is to carry out and enforce the laws. And they have the power to veto bills or reject a proposed law. Okay, that's the end of this slide. Hopefully you took some good notes. You can rewatch and pause as much as you need to so it makes sense. Email me with any questions you have, and we can always do a video conference to clear up any confusion. Thank you.